Rebecca.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm gonna start today by sharing that yoga has been instrumental in me building the greatest life I've ever had, and I've built that practice over the last 10, but really 5 years. But I've never practiced more than I have this year, in which I've practiced twice a week, pretty much every week this year, yin yoga, which has just been so incredibly helpful to me in so many ways. And your class was probably about 40% of that. And so this is to say that like what you're putting out there has just offered such incredible value to me, and by extension, I'm sure so many other people. And I guess I just want to start with like, how do you feel about that, and what does that bring up in you?
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's huge. I've been practicing, so I'm in my 30s. I've been practicing yoga since I was 16, and yoga totally transformed my life as well. So I just completely, everyone's on their own journey, obviously, and it looks different for everybody, but I have no doubt that yoga is transformative and can help lift people from wherever they are at and sort of just gently nudge them into maybe a more aligned version of the life that they're looking for. I don't, how does it feel? How does it resonate? It's like really sweet, but there's also like this layer between me and the teaching. I've had so many amazing teachers that have helped put things into words that I didn't understand, or that I understood in my body, or maybe like energetically. And then when the teachers say it out loud, I'm like, oh, that's it. Like, that's the thing. So for the past 10 years or so of me teaching yoga, I feel like it's been less of like I'm teaching yoga, and more of like, hey, these are the things that have really spoken to me and the things that my teachers have helped me with. And I'm just regurgitating. I'm just a parrot bringing those teachings down. And they didn't come up with them either, is the thing. It's like there's this really beautiful lineage of understanding that also like takes the pressure out as well. Like, I don't feel responsible for for your journey in yoga, which is really liberating, I think. I know some teachers or like wellness practitioners who will take a lot of like, they hold a lot of weight in it. This is this heaviness of like, oh, I'm sharing these ancient teachings and I will guide you and I will carry this and I don't really feel that way. I've probably, because I've taught a lot to like my family, who's like super non-yogi people. One of the best pieces of advice actually I ever got from one of my teachers, when I was learning how to teach yoga, she said, it was Esme, her name is Esme, and she said, when you're practicing teaching yoga, or just like when you're teaching yoga, always put like your most skeptical family member in the room in your mind that doesn't really want to be there, and like teach to that person as well. It's easy to like teach to people who are like already super into that spiritual practice, or like who understand the concept of yoga, but just placing in my mind someone in there who's like, like trying to call bullshit, or like find the woo-woo or something and make fun of it. Like, I like to keep that person in the room in my mind as well too, so as to not like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I got off topic a little bit, but it just, I don't take credit for any of the yoga. So as much as I'm like so happy that you've like found this like awesome groove in the classes, and really my main thing is just creating a safe container where people can like be. And so if I've done that in any capacity, like that's my accomplishment. So I feel good about that. So again, thank you so much for sharing.
Well, you certainly did create that space for sure. So thank you. So then how did yoga change your life?
That's always such a woohoo. So when I was 16, I was totally there's a few different answers, so I'm gonna choose the one that's probably the most PC. So the main answer is that I was an actor for a long time. I was 6 years old. I was doing like 3 to 5 different musicals and shows and performances a year. I had classical voice training once or twice a week. I played a few instruments. I had dance. I did ballet, tap, jazz, river dancing, like all sorts of shit. And basically, I understood my body from a young age as an instrument for storytelling and to communicate my inside world effectively to the outside world. So my body just kind of became this like avatar, and I was always really aware from a young age of how my body, or the way my voice was, or the way my face was, how that was being perceived. I always felt like I was like on stage or like playing a part, simply because I started when I was really young. In fact, I remember I would like lie. I would like go into stores and like pretend to be someone else, and it was like my acting I didn't know that it was like sick, you know, like I didn't know that I was being kind of psycho because I was a kid and I didn't know any better. But I would take like kind of this play make-believe world and like run with it for like weeks, like method acting unhinged. And then I went and got a degree in it too. So like I studied it for a long time and I got really good at, you know, acting, but also manipulating and deception and creating a narrative that wasn't true, and kind of like living in whatever reality I felt like was appropriate for the moment, which is super convenient, I suppose, for moving through different traumas that I've experienced and like whatever. But when I was in college studying acting, I took this yoga class at Moto Yoga, and I think it was my teacher, her name was Angela Granzia, I think is her last name. And she was this badass lady in her, I don't know, she was older than me, you know, she was like above a mom figure. And she was like, she said something that was like, your body is for you to enjoy, or something like that. It was like so simple. The language of it was like not deep, but just being in that really like open space and like moving my body, and all of a sudden feeling like, oh, like my body is mine for me to enjoy and for my pleasure and for my autonomy and empowerment. I can take my body and I can do whatever I want with it. I don't need a director. I don't need a script. I don't need to create a scene or like get my objective, or like whatever kind of acting term you want to use. All of a sudden I felt kind of, I felt liberated. I felt free, which is what yoga is all about, moksha. And so it clicked for me, and I became a pretty rebellious actor. And that career kind of fell apart pretty quickly after really tapping into this like yogi mind. I just realized it was a big shattering moment, because I realized how much of my life was like pieced together for other people's perceptions and perspectives, and I really had to take a step back away from everything. And there's more with that. Psychedelics helped a lot. Just meditation and journaling, and there's so many things that went along with that. But yoga is really what gave me that like bing, that light bulb moment, for sure.
I'm glad it did, and so young as well. It's an amazing time to have been introduced to it, and it sounds like for you a vital time. And I guess if you hadn't have been introduced to it, things may have been very different. And again, you mentioned the other tools as well, mindfulness and journaling and whatnot, and I'm sure they all came from some place, but without them, your life, I expect, would have been quite different.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm going to ask you a favor. Can you close your eyes for me, please?
Okay.
And I'm going to, for once, let you notice your breath for a moment. What does it feel like for you to be still?
Right now, tough, because I'm a little caffeinated. But when I'm still, I notice there's a buzzing, like a lot of energy in my head and down into my arms. I feel like my center column. There's like a constant vibration. But I really do love being still.
And what about when you focus on your breath? What does that do for you?
It brings movement in. It gives the energy, that vibration in my body somewhere to go. It's like, it's a river. It allows things to flow.
And how do you use breathing to navigate life?
Well, it depends. Right now, I'm breathing in a lot of lately my work has been in non-grasping. So rather than like pulling in the air, which I've definitely done at times in my life, I'm simply these days trying to just soften and allow the breath to move without trying to manipulate it so much.
Be easy. So what I'd like you to do is think of someone in your life who is a constant inspiration for you. And you don't need to tell me who they are, just get them in your mind and put you next to them in their space. What does that person offer you? How do they uplift you? How do they help you enjoy life more, get more out of life?
A lot of tenderness. There's a lot of like allowing and like the quality of an embrace, but without even like physical touch, like a warmth that radiates. It's a it's like a non-seeking, non-judgmental, like very eyes wide open gaze, and it's but there's also like humor. It's very impish as well, so it's hard to. It's not their presence is not one that is like all-knowing, but rather it's really much full of curiosity and joy.
And now someone that has a quality that you wish you had more of. How does it make you feel that they have this quality that you would like more of?
Well, I feel like I'm glad that they have it. I have struggled with envy a lot in my life, so it's interesting. But I've learned a little bit, or at least I'm working with the idea of community, and that my gifts, the things that feel easy to me, are important, because if something feels easy to someone else, like I need them to have that easy. You know what I mean? It's honoring like that. Not everyone's gifts are the same. So I'm glad that they have that, because they're going to help me out with some things, I think.
And the last one I'll ask you is someone in your life that struggles, and they struggle in a way that you can't really help. You just have to be an observer. What does that feel like?
It feels like I'm on a lifeboat and I got a raft or something, and I like want to throw them the lifesaver or whatever, but I don't know. You think about that old saying of like, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It's there's a type of allowing. So it's interesting. It's kind of like what I gain from the people that I respect, of like that kind of like ability to allow, is sort of what I feel moving through me towards those other beings that I would like to help. I'm actually genuinely moving out of my helping people phase. I'm really, trying to simply allow things to be and unfold and just be a loving presence.
It's a good place to be. Okay, so now just you're on your own, but it's 2050, in 25 years' time. What do you wish you had done more of in your life?
Oh, have a bajillion babies. No. What I wish I had done more of in 2050. Just spend more time outside. You know, there's so much time, and here in Buffalo, there's a lot of indoor time. So there's not too much I can do about that in the winter. But you know, I'm an herbalist in my deep bones of my body, and so time spent outside and communing with the plants is one of my favorite. It's church. So if I don't do that, I really do feel the absence. So definitely more of that and more singing.
What kind of singing?
Oh, just deep-throated singing about doing the dishes, you know, not, you know, singing for God, singing for all that is, singing with the birds, not really to be heard, but just to sing.
So why don't you do enough of that now?
Well, good question. One reason is that I live in an apartment and everyone can hear everything, it feels like, but maybe that's not a good excuse. You know, I typically sing when I'm in more of a float state, and lately I've been in more of a, like an inward container, a little bit less outwardly expressive. So I'm sure that'll come back. Yeah.
No doubt it will come back. You can open your eyes again now.
All right.
I'll release you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot where I was.
Thank you for humouring me.
Oh, yeah.
So, flip more to the world a little bit. What
Yeah.
do you think that we don't have enough of in society?
Gardens. Gardens. I want more wild spaces and food gardens. I learned, okay, so in the city planning here, like years ago, I don't know when, I won't make it up, but they decided to only plant, I think, male trees and not female trees because they didn't want them to cross-pollinate and create fruit and make the street messy. So instead, they created a ton of pollen and everyone is super sneezy and there's no fruit, so you can't walk around and like pick a pear. I don't know if pear is the right one, but yeah, so just more, I think society needs more accessible gardening. The microbiome of the soil is so healing for human beings. We're just meant to get our hands literally dirty in the soil. And so I just feel like everyone needs like a backyard garden. If I could just change one thing right now, that would be what I did.
And so for families that don't have gardens now, that aren't near that green space, what do you think lacks for them in their life?
Oh, I mean, it's sort of like, it's just, you know, it's about autonomy, like food security and that connection with your food. I really believe that matters so much. You know, we go to a supermarket, we buy the meat, it's covered in plastic, and there's this total disconnect between what we're buying and what it is. And like, let alone what we put into our bodies. I think that there's so much missing from folks' diets in America. You know, not everybody, obviously, but just I would really love for there to be more education and emphasis on how what you put into your body really, really matters. Your mental health, your physical health, there's just a lot that can be avoided if everyone had access. But they need the desire. It's hard work. Gardening is hard work. So there's also this matter of discipline and showing up for yourself and seeing how long it takes a bell pepper to grow, you know, that you're just going to cut up and maybe not even eat, right? You have it on the plate, no one eats it. And it's like, how much energy did the world and the earth and the sun and the water all put into that? So that's a big one for me, I think. I don't know. What was the question? You asked how we would do it?
What is there not enough of in society? And so for me, what I'm going to encapsulate that in is a connection with nature, with the provider, with like the world around us that has gotten us this far. And you know, food is something that's a big topic for me. And firstly, because of just my experience and understanding the how food affects me.
Yeah.
But even more recently, as I've been door dashing so much, 95% of the food I deliver and shop for is trash.
Yeah.
It's just poison and processed, and it's so I feel guilty delivering this food, but I don't really have a choice in that matter. That's kind of the job, but it's very difficult, and it's just hard to see that in the world so much. And if we think about it, 100 years ago, most stuff was pretty clean, really pretty clean, because there wasn't really much choice. But in the last 50 years, it's just changed so much. And I guess, looking after yourself is really important, and your body and your mind is number one, and the food you put in your body is paramount. So I guess for you, how would you talk to someone? What would you say to someone who doesn't even consider what they're putting in their body, I guess, and isn't really aware of the fact that they're damaging themselves so much?
Yeah, what do I do? What do you do? Where do you start, right?
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, I've used the analogy before about you wouldn't put unleaded gas in a diesel engine, it's just things like that. There's so many cliches about you are what you eat, and I feel like these common phrase, there's probably more, but these phrases are sort of taken as they're cute, and folks are so focused on the convenience around quick eating, cheap eating, and eating to survive. I know a lot of people who they want something delicious, quick, cheap, and that'll keep them alive till the morning, and it's hard to argue with that. So it's the problem is not necessarily the food first. It's, it's the fact that we feel this need to rush around, that we feel like our time is being sucked up by our work day, and that we don't have the energy or the inspiration to, process. It does take time. It takes energy to process food and to cook every meal. What do I say to people? I talked with one woman recently. So I stretch people for a living. I do assisted stretch therapy where it's one-on-one. I'm moving their body around. And that's really my scope. I can talk about stretching, maybe some exercises here and there if it's appropriate. But diet is not in my wheelhouse at all. I'm not at all, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. So I have to tiptoe gently around that kind of thing with regards to scope, and what I'm qualified to speak about. One woman said she only drinks Mountain Dew. No water. She doesn't like water. And she assured me, don't worry, I drink 3 Mountain Dews a day to make sure I get enough liquid. And, what do you do with that, right? There's so much. She's an older, she shouldn't have someone half her age telling her what she's doing is killing her. You know what I mean? It's really rough. It's hard to go, you can't go back in time and put the places in that make a safe environment for people to eat well and nourish their bodies. There's just so much behind it. So what do? First come at it with so much compassion. It's not like people have chosen to be unhealthy. They just don't know any better. And their priorities are elsewhere, providing food for their families. It's just this. So where do you go? That's why I think the most important thing, and what would I do tomorrow, is community gardens. Just plop one in every neighborhood, a 30 by 30 square, one block every, 2 miles or something would be huge. Because just having access to, kale grows forever. You can plant it once and harvest, low key indefinitely. And there's a lot of vegetables that are like that. So I don't know. More education, but honestly, more than education, just creating we got to create a new society where people have time to garden and cook for themselves, because that's really what it comes down to, is whole foods.
There's 2 big pieces I'll pull out of there. One is essentially what you're saying, and what I agree with is it's just our culture, right, and the way we navigate life. It just really restricts our ability to eat well generally, especially if you've got a family and you know, different jobs and just a lot of responsibility. It is tough. And the other thing I'll add is, for me, and this actually relates to yoga as well, and one of the things that yoga has helped me understand about myself and the world is you have to do these things bit by bit. So, you know, it's not like someone just deciding one day saying, I'm not going to eat this stuff anymore, I'm just going to start eating this. That doesn't happen. And it's the same reason why diets, I think, are kind of, you know, just stopgaps. They're band-aids, because it's not really systematically. And so for me, when I think about people eating better, like for me, it took me 10 years to really understand that, and it was trial and error. And I was lucky to have the space to do it, and different influences and whatnot. But it's a real tough one, and education is a huge part of it, and awareness is a huge part of it, and we just can't be aware of everything, and we're so locked into the culture. Anyway, okay. Do you think that you're on the right path?
Golly, I hope so. It feels like it. I mean, yogis talk a lot about dharma, and like taking what you feel like you're inspired by and what lights you up and bringing that into the world. It used to be that my dharma was my like full-time, sorry, I'm touching the mic. My dharma was like my full-time job. I was, you know, teaching yoga full-time, and that felt really aligned or whatever. And then I got really burnt out, and I kind of hated people for like a little bit there, and I had to step away from my dharma, you know. So I don't know, I feel like my mom tells me this thing, and it stuck with me. It's so cute. It's such a mom thing to say, but she tells me, you know, no matter where you are, what you're doing, who you're talking with, you're making the world a better place just by showing up and being there fully. So I really try to take that with me, because I want to be everywhere all the time. I want to, you know, do the best I can. But yeah, you know, I feel like I've been struggling lately with the idea that what I'm meant to be doing needs to be heavy work, and I'm starting to enjoy that maybe what I need to be doing or my calling doesn't always have to be so heavy, that it can feel light. Ram Dass said a great thing, you know, you can do it like there's a great weight on you, or you can do it like it's part of the dance. And I've really been trying to lean into the dance. So yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
And what do you think it will feel like when you get to the end of that path?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I feel like it'll feel the same as it does right now. You know, I really enjoy Buddhism, and I listen a lot to David Nichtern, is one of my favorite authors and teachers on the subject. And I was just listening today it was his book, Awakening from the Daydream. And he's talking about these different realms. It's not his ideas, you know, but he's teaching them in a way that's understandable for me. But just that, like, whenever you've like hit like a new realm, you know, whether you're in the human realm of like, oh, how do I make my life better? Or, you know, how do I achieve the goal? Yada, yada. And then you're in like the God realm of like, I've got it going on. I did the thing. And then once you're in the God realm, then you're likely to be in the jealous God realm, where you're like, wait, they did it faster than me, or better than me, or they made more money than me. And then after that, then you're back in the hell realm and the human realm. You know, it's just all these different states of being that can happen, like bing, bing, bing. Like you close your eyes and wake up, and you're, you know, open your eyes and you're in a different mind state, a whole different reality. So I don't really know that I'll ever feel like, I don't imagine I'll ever feel like complete, you know, at the end of any journey. And, you know, there's a lot that I want to do still with this life and this vessel. So I hope that I get a chance to do it. But honestly, if I'm just able to like get some fresh air every day and like pet a dog or a cat and like hug somebody, then that's like, that's good. That's good for me right now.
That's a lovely place to end it. But before we do, if you want to ask me a question, or if you want to share anything that you wanted to share and you didn't get a chance to.
What inspired this podcast for you? Or like, you know, why do you feel called to do this?
On a personal level, I love to learn, and learning from people is the greatest resource that we have at our disposal. And this is a way for me to do that, for one. It's a way for me to talk to people and ask them questions that I don't normally get to ask people and learn about them. And of course, the knock-on effect and really the end purpose for me is to build the library of humanity. One is, in a sense, a time capsule as we dive into the AI world and digital world that we're in right now already. Like, I want to capture people and I want to retain that humanity, and at the same time I want to create this place where people can learn and grow from each other. That's the whole point of Q, is to learn and grow from experiences of other people. And so this is a way for me to create access for everyone everywhere to an abundance of people and life experience and perspective, and you know, the short, medium, long-term vision of what this podcast is to travel around the world, and that's what I intend to do for the next several years. And we're starting here in Buffalo, and I want to get to know as many people as I can in this city, and then it'll be the next place and the next place and the next place. And as I pick up followers and interest along the way, my hope is that all the people that consume this will learn and grow from these experiences and add a lot of value to their lives.
Well, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and it's been really nice to get to know you and to chat.
Thank you so much for having me.